Hi, Tom from Flight Systems here. Today, we're going to be taking a look at how to check the windings and slip ring condition of your generator. This information will apply to the Emerald, the Marquis, the Microquiet, and the Microlight series generators using the 305 and 826 style regulators. All you'll need is a T25 and a multimeter. Let's get to work. Alright, we're going to use our T25 to get these control board bolts out of here. This will allow us to take apart the control panel here. Pull out those bolts completely. And this panel will pop forward. There's a lot of wires back here. Pull that screw out of there and just pull forward on the control board assembly. Alright, so there's our nice jumble of wires in there. And the one we're going after here is this regulator connector here. What you can do is unsnap that connector by pushing in on the sides here. And there's that. That's the side we want to work with, the side that goes to the generator, not the regulator. You'll probably ask yourself why I'm struggling to keep this panel here. Instead of removing it, you will see in the next step why I'm going to keep this panel connected. So let's get a closer shot and see how to check the pins on this regulator harness for the generator. Alright, let's get this meter set up. This is an auto ranging meter, so all I need to do is turn my selector to ohms. If you have a manual ranging meter, for these measurements you're going to want to be on 200. The 200 scale on resistance. All of our readings are going to be under 200 ohms. So let's look at this connector here. This is the generator side of the regulator connector, and what we're looking at here is this rib right here, the rib on the edge of the connector. That's pin 1. So let's take a look at the numbering. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The first set of readings we want to take a look at are pins 2 and 3. Alright, pins 2 and 3 is your main stator, and you should be getting somewhere between 0.3 and 0.5 ohms. That is a good stator. If you're outside of that range, there's a good possibility that you have a bad stator and your stator is going to need to be replaced. Bad stators don't usually happen. It's not very common in the field unless something tragic happened, like voltage was backfed into the generator or something like that. But 0.3 to 0.5 is what you want to get there. Anything other than that requires a replacement stator. The next pins we want to check are 11 and 12. That is the auxiliary stator or the quadrature winding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the reading we should get there should be between 2 and 4 ohms. 2 and 4, same thing as the stator. If it's outside of the range, it requires a new stator assembly. Between 2 and 4 is all we're looking for on that auxiliary stator. Alright, next is probably the most important reading you're going to want to take, and that is pins 9 and 10, which is your field connection. Your field connection is the rotor, the brushes, and the slip rings all in one shot. You can tell the condition of your slip rings, whether or not your rotor is shorted, whether or not your brushes have worn down and are no longer making contact to anything, all at pins 9 and 10 here. So let's check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now the reading we're looking for on a Marquis or Emerald series is between 20 and 30 ohms. On a Microquiet or Microlight series, we're looking for between 18 and 24. So this is a Marquis series, so I'm shooting for between 20 and 30 ohms, and we have achieved that. Right around 24, is what I'm getting here. So that means that my rings, my brushes, my rotor are all okay at this point. Now there's one final check that we want to do, and that is what I was saying about leaving this control board connected here. What we want to do next is take this same reading while the generator is spinning. So we will do that. Of course, at this point, you have the regulator plug unplugged, so there's no danger of anything bad happening here. All you have to do is crank the generator. You don't have to even let it start. Just we're looking for motion and basically centrifugal force on the rotor. And we're looking for this reading to be stationary, or at least within an ohm or two of what it is reading right now with it standing still. So let's take a look. Let's hit that start button, and we're going to see how our number jumps around, and that will give us another picture of what the rotor is doing. All right, here we go. All right, our reading stayed within an ohm or two of what we were getting when we were stationary. That looks good. All right, let's take a look at what all those readings mean for your field circuit. On pins 9 and 10, if you had a reading that was good while standing still, but was jumping all over the place or falling towards zero when it started rotating, you have a centrifugal or flying short. What that means is that the varnish has worn off of the underlying layers on the rotor and allows the windings to touch once the generator has started spinning. This produces a short only while the generator is spinning. Now, unfortunately, to fix that, you do need to replace or rewind the rotor. If you had readings that were low for both stationary and rotational, once again, you will need to replace or rewind the rotor. You have a permanently shorted rotor. If you had a reading that was high for both stationary and rotational, you probably just have dirty slip rings. You can utilize our slick stick to clean those slip rings right up. If you have an Emerald series or Marquis series generator, you just have to go through the vent holes without having to take anything apart, and you can clean them up with that slick stick. Unfortunately, for the MicroQuiet or Microlite, you do have to take part of the generator apart to get to the rings, and unfortunately the slick stick won't really help you all that much in that scenario. You can get our slick stick at flightsystems.com. Now, if you had a reading that was like you weren't touching anything at all, like an open circuit, it either says OL on your screen or 1, then you have either a broken brush or a brush wire that is broken or fallen off. You will be able to fix that probably pretty easily, especially on the Emerald or the Marquis series. Once again, with the MicroQuiet and the Microlite, you do have to take some parts apart of the generator, the left-hand side in particular, take the fan off, all that stuff, to get at the brushes and the brush wires. But hopefully, once you get in there and check out the brushes and the wires, it'll be an easy fix for you. So we do have some parts for you that will help you in this scenario for your brushes, slip rings, all that stuff. Related parts, we've got the 305 and the 826 regulator. They go hand in hand with brush problems and rotor problems and all that stuff. So make sure that if you had any rotor damage at all, you replace your regulator as well, because there's a good chance that the regulator went out also. So make sure you get these products at flightsystems.com or call 1-800-403-3728. Thanks for watching. I'm Tom from Flight Systems. It's easy to book RV tech support at flightsystems.com. Just hit the Book Now button, choose your date and time for the appointment, hit Next, and enter a few simple details such as your name, your phone number, and your email address. It also helps to include a brief description of the problem and your generator's model number. Agree to the cancellation policy and hit the Confirm button. Just review the info and hit Finish. You're now one step closer to a working generator.